is 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News Morning.
Right now on Eyewitness News Morning, downed trees, branches, and overturned tractor trailers. We're live in Rochelle looking at the damage that's left behind.
Plus, the storms caused damage all across central Georgia, making it impossible for some schools to open their doors this morning. Is your child's school on the list? Find out at 6:02.
And after several rounds of destructive storms passed through the area this weekend, we are finally left with just a few showers and windy weather for today. Coming up, I'll talk about how windy it gets this afternoon.
Sitting there, we look up and the ceiling tile-like squares come kind of flying across the room, and it scared all of us.
And storms hit Warner Robins hard Saturday, ripping off the roof of a Walmart. Hear from employees who were in the store when it happened and what crews are working on today. And Albany is working to pick up the pieces this morning after being hit by a large tornado. Our Suzanne Lawler will join us at 6:06 with a look at the damage that they're seeing this morning. Those stories and more. Eyewitness News Morning starts right now. Good Monday morning. You're looking live over the city of Warner Robins. It is 6 a.m. on this January 23rd. I'm Caitlin Heck. Carly has the morning off. Let's head straight on over to meteorologist Pat Kaplan. He has a look at your forecast for today. Pat.
Yeah, much quieter weather finally starting to settle in after what was a very, very busy and unfortunately deadly weekend for some. Good morning, everybody. A live look over Warner Robins right now from the roof of House and Medical Center. 50 degrees. We're seeing some rain out there. Notice the roadways are wet and it is a little bit breezy. Those winds will pick up as we go into the afternoon. That's going to be the big story today. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s, so you'll need a jacket out the door. Notice a swath of rain swinging through the area right now. The center of that low pressure system that brought us all these storms now kind of over the Atlanta area. That's going to swing by to our north, and behind it we'll see much windier conditions move in, but drier air as well. So that's the good news. So for today, we'll see showers early with afternoon clearing, but again, it turns very windy. Winds sustained at about 30 to 35 miles per hour, gusting even higher. We'll have your full forecast coming up in detail at 6:13. Caitlin?
Thank you, Pat. Right now we have several school closings this morning to tell you about. Due to severe weather damage across central Georgia, Telfair, Wheeler, and Crisp County schools are closed this morning because of hazardous road conditions. However, administration and staff still need to come in at 10 a.m. Crisp County private schools are closed for staff and students today. Fullington Academy in Pinehurst is also closed today for both staff and students. Last night, Crisp County Sheriff Billy Hancock issued a mandatory curfew for everyone. Sheriff Hancock says everyone needed to be off the roads by 8 last night so that emergency crews could get to the damaged areas. And this weekend, severe storms left damage all across central Georgia. One of the hardest hit areas from the storm right now is Wilcox County, where last night emergency crews were out trying to get down power lines off the roads, trees off of houses, and out of the roadways. Our morning reporter Yvonne Thomas is live in Rochelle to give us a better look at how they're recovering today. Yvonne?
Good morning, Caitlin. We're standing on one of the hardest hit roads right here on American Legion Road. There's dozens of trees just scattered all over the ground. A lot of these trees have snapped in half. There's dozens of branches here. There's even a semi truck behind me that's been completely flipped over, and you can barely even recognize it, except there's a license tag right there on the back, and you can see the wheels are actually up in the air. Now, this is just one of the many neighborhoods and areas that have been hit hard by this storm. Now, EMA Director Larry Brown says about 5 people had their homes destroyed in the storms, but he says that number could change once they assess the damage in the morning. Now, in just a few hours, homeowners will start to come outside of their home and take a look at all the damage that's around them. And not only will they realize exactly how much damage they'll have to assess themselves, but they'll be able to realize just what they survived. This was an extremely powerful and impactful storm that swept throughout central Georgia. And of course, we're going to continue to keep you updated throughout the morning. We're going to look for more damage and bring that to you as soon as we have it. For now, back to you.
All right, thank you, Yvonne. We're going to check back with her with another look at the damage at 6:32. And for anyone who still needs a place to stay, there are several shelters that opened up last night. City Hall in Rochelle, Ferguson Funeral Home, and the Wilcox County Courthouse in Abbeville. And a Wilcox County family is left with just the clothes on their backs after a potential tornado ripped through their community. The 3 homes belonging to the family on Mount Olive Road in Abbeville are completely destroyed. The family says the tornado blew one home away and parked a car right on top of another home. They say their daughter and grandchildren escaped through the back door. Family says they're relieved that no one was hurt, but they just can't believe that their homes are gone.
I never dreamed of this or happened to me, my family, and my siblings. It had been a tornado. They take everything. We lost everything.
It hurt me in my heart. Came here seeing what I see. We homeless now, and we need some help from in and everybody.
A roof was blown off another home just down the street in Rochelle on American Legion Road. There was also a downed tree and a semi-truck that was left on its side after the severe weather. We have a closer look at the devastation coming up again at 6:33. And Wilcox County isn't the only area dealing with similar devastation this morning. An unconfirmed tornado left one Putnam County park with damages, including a trailer that got flipped onto its side. People in Oconee Springs Park say a possible tornado hit the park Saturday afternoon. The manager of that park, Lonnie Campbell, says the storm left a playground and a cabin in pieces, and it caused damage to several trailers. Debbie Allgood says the storm picked up her trailer and blew it onto its side, leaving it at a complete loss. But she says thankfully no one was inside at the time.
I can't even imagine what would have happened to us in there had we been in there, because all the furniture would have been toppled on top of us. I don't even know, there would have been no way we could climb out.
Campbell says no one in the park was injured. Another possible tornado ripped through Warner Robins Saturday, causing severe damage to the Walmart on Booth Road. A viewer sent us this video from inside that Walmart as sections of the roof were blown off, sending water and strong winds inside of the building. We spoke to a Walmart cashier who was in the break room when the weather struck. Karen Tarabansky says she had no idea there was severe weather until she heard a radio weather alert sound off.
And just seconds after that, boom, it started, the little plaques out of the ceiling started coming down. One guy almost got hit, or it was just, we just all huddled, kind of got over in a corner.
Walmart Representative Charles Croson says crews were inside the store assessing damages yesterday afternoon, as well as the safety of the building. He says they're working as quickly as they can to develop a timeline for when that store will be able to reopen. And he says for now, employees will be temporarily placed in other stores. One of the areas hit hardest by these storms is Albany. According to our station in Atlanta, a large wedge-shaped tornado struck the town yesterday afternoon. And as of this morning, emergency officials are saying at least 15 people are dead following the storm that ripped through southwest Georgia. This morning, our Suzanne Lawler is live in Albany with a look at the devastation there. Suzanne?
Yeah, guys, the damage here is phenomenal. It's really hard to take in. We can assume that this was a convenience store up until yesterday, just all kinds of twisted metal all around here. There's even an eerie sound that's kind of hard to explain to you coming through the TV, but there are gas tanks behind us, and the metal is wrapped around and just blowing in the wind right now. You can see those gas tanks just tossed. Over to my right, there's a semi-trailer. Trees shaved right in half, and not only just uprooted, but we are talking extremely twisted in a macabre kind of way. About a quarter of a mile up the road was a trailer park that was completely demolished. The county coroner has confirmed 4 deaths in this area, and here's something else to keep in mind. This was a serious tornado that came through. 2 to 3 weeks ago, it was on January 2nd, Albany suffered another tornado, an EF1 tornado that came through the area. That tornado took aim more at the city. This tornado took aim more at the county. We're going to see a lot more when daylight comes up. We hear from law enforcement officials that search and rescue efforts are going to continue today, so that death toll may rise. Reporting in Albany, Suzanne Lawler, 13 WMAZ, Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Suzanne. And we're going to check back with her for another look at the damage left behind by the storms. That's coming up at 6:35. And this morning, the American Red Cross is continuing to help those affected by the storms across South Georgia. They're planning to work with local emergency officials to help with the devastation, the injuries, and loss of life. They're deploying volunteers and supplies for shelter operations in places like Adel, where disaster, health, and mental health workers will also be on hand. Right now, a state of emergency is declared for 7 counties. Those are Atkinson, Berrien, Brooks, Colquitt, Cook, Lowndes, and Thomas. To donate to the Red Cross, you can call 1-800-733-2767. Again, that is 1-800-733-2767. One text from you could change the lives of a group of Thompson middle schoolers and possibly save the lives of some pedestrians in central Georgia. After a jogger was killed in North Macon last September, these 6th grade students decided to design a mobile app to keep runners safe and alert drivers about people on the roads. They called their creation RAM, or Runners App Management, and they submitted their idea along with a video to the Verizon Innovative Learning App Challenge.
The runners will have a watch on, and the Runners app will be connected to the watch, and it will send a message to the car once you start it. That way the cars will get a message informing that there's a runner.
Their app won the state challenge, and now the students are competing against other teams from across the country. The winner will get to work with a tech team from MIT to make their app idea into a reality. The school will also get a $15,000 prize. To help the Thompson Middle team win, all you have to do is text RAM to 22333. Voting ends on February 14th. We're going to head on over to Pat now after a very full weekend of weather. Thankfully, a little calmer this morning.
Yeah, it was a very busy weekend of weather, and like Suzanne was saying, a deadly one for some, unfortunately. But for us, our weather much quieter as we go into the middle of the week. Temperatures topping out in the upper 60s by Wednesday, but it turns much colder from there. Good Monday morning, everyone. We're glad you're here. We're back with more after the break.
Welcome back, 6:13. We do want to clear something up. We kind of touched on it earlier in the 5 o'clock hour, but sometimes we say possible tornado or unconfirmed tornado, and that's because the National Weather Service, you said, hasn't gone out there yet.
Right, so the only way that we know there was a tornado that went through the area is by surveying the damage. So you have to actually go out to those locations, look at the damage, look at the damage path, and try to determine if it was straight line wind damage or if it was a tornado. In some circumstances, like Albany and like Wilcox County, the tornado was actually visibly spotted. So the warning itself, the tornado warning that went out, actually explicitly said there was a tornado warning on the ground. So those are the exceptions, but generally, like for Warner Robins, for Washington County, where we just see those damage images, that's where we're just talking about, it's a possible tornado. Even if it looks like a tornado to us, the Weather Service still hasn't given us the official word. So we're not diminishing the damage by any means. We're just trying to explain how this kind of situation works. 50 degrees right now in Warner Robins. We're looking live over Watson Boulevard from the roof of House and Medical Center. You can see the rain falling there. And temperatures are pretty cool at this hour in the low to mid 50s. Now the winds are going to be the big story today. Notice they're really starting to pick up now, especially across our southern sections here. 12-mile-per-hour sustained winds in Warner Robins, 15-mile-per-hour sustained winds in Macon, 20 out towards Thomason. These gusts are really starting to pick up, though, now in the order of 15 to 25 miles per hour. 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts out towards Thomason, and that will continue to be the case as this low kind of migrates just to our north. You've actually been able to watch these colors shift. If you've been watching for the past hour, this gap in the data was up here before, and now it started to shift off towards the east. Bottom line, it's going to get windy as we go into the afternoon. So off and on showers this morning, giving way to clearing skies by the afternoon, 62 for a high. Again, with winds gusting upwards of 30 to 40 miles per hour later this afternoon. Here's that last batch of rain swinging through the area. As we zoom out, you're going to get a real scale of how large this storm system was, extending all the way from the Appalachians down through South Florida into Cuba. That's how big this storm system was. This is actually one of the lowest pressures ever recorded with a low pressure system that's non-tropical for the southeast. So a really impressive storm, and that's evident by the storms that we saw this weekend. So the rain's out of here by mid-morning, few showers left over through lunch, and then gradual clearing into the afternoon. It stays windy through this evening, and then we start to see the winds die down tomorrow. Sunshine sticks around through Wednesday, and then our next shower chance moves in Wednesday night. No severe weather on the horizon, though. Sustained winds today on the order again of 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts even higher, but the winds do start to calm down tonight, about 5 to 15. And that'll be the case tomorrow, starting to get even calmer as we go through the rest of the week. Your 7-day forecast, not looking too bad. In fact, it's looking a lot better than where we have been for the past few days. Temperatures in the 60s through Wednesday. Those showers move through Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and that brings temperatures into a nosedive. By the weekend, winter finally returns. Highs back into the low 50s and upper 40s, with low temperatures in the 20s and 30s. So January making its final hurrah in its last weekend before we head into February.
All right, thank you, Pat. 6:15. A group is planning to file a lawsuit against now President Donald Trump today. What they're saying he's violating and how. That's coming up at 6:18. Welcome back, 6:18. Let's get to your hot headlines from around the country. Today, a watchdog group is planning to file a lawsuit against President Donald Trump. The suit contends that Trump is violating the Constitution by continuing to accept payments from foreign governments at the business operated by his family. Now, Trump turned over management of his company to his 2 adult sons, who plan to operate the business through a trust. But President Trump still retains ownership of his business. And the president's top aide, Kellyanne Conway, is receiving backlash over a comment she made defending the new White House press secretary. Conway called Sean Spicer's comments about crowd sizes at the inauguration, quote, alternative facts. Chuck Todd, host of Meet the Press, argued that alternative facts are not facts, but falsehoods. Conway says she doesn't think there's a way to prove crowd numbers. An estimated 2.6 million people took part in 673 marches in all 50 states and 32 countries Saturday for the Women's March. The crowds were so large in some cities, like Chicago, that marching was really just almost impossible. According to USA Today, a D.C. official said the turnout grew to around 500,000 there, more than double of what was expected. They estimate that given the turnout, this march will be named among historic demonstrations, including the Vietnam War protests of 1967. Time to check in with Pat now before you head out the door with a look at traffic.
Thank you, Caitlin. 619, a look at I-75 here again through Perry, Georgia at US 341. You can see the roadways are wet, so if you're traveling this morning, just keep that in mind, especially on the concrete surfaces like this stretch of 75 here. Hydroplaning a big concern. Otherwise, though, you get a green light to and from work. The rain will wrap up quickly, and then we'll see very windy conditions this afternoon, so high-profile vehicles, trucks, vans, buses, keep that in mind. Highs in the lower 60s. We'll have your full forecast again at the end of the show, but right now, Jonathan Perez has a look at your morning sports.
Good morning, everybody. The Atlanta Falcons are going to the Super Bowl. When we come back, I'll show you the highlights as they took down the Green Bay Packers and dominated them. Stay with us. Sports is coming up next. Welcome back. Yesterday was Championship Sunday in the NFC Championship game, a regular season rematch between the Green Bay Packers and the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons trying to give their fans a show at the Georgia Dome one last time. And what better way to do that than punching their ticket to the biggest show in the NFL, the Super Bowl. Let's show you how it happened. First quarter opening drive for the Dirty Birds. Driving down the field, Matt Ryan on the move and then tosses the shovel pass to Mohamed Sanu, and they get on the board first. They lead 7-0. Second quarter now, Falcons, they forced a turnover and are driving down the field. Matty Ice running like Michael Vick out there on the field. Look at him go. Takes this one to the house, a 14-yard touchdown. That's the longest rushing touchdown of his career, and he's a little excited after that. Falcons would lead 17-0. We talked a lot about Aaron Rodgers and how well he's been playing, but today, Matt Ryan exploded and pretty much cemented this year's MVP. Just before the half, he throws to his favorite target, Julio Jones, makes the incredible diving catch in the end zone. They will review it and call it a touchdown. The Dirty Birds are on cruise control. They lead 24-0 at the half, but the Falcons were just getting started. Matt Ryan throws down the middle of the field to Julio Jones. Jones gets some big yardage and is not going down anytime soon. Breaks the tackle, get off of me. Tight ropes the sidelines and then is off 73 yards to the house. An outstanding performance from the Dirty Birds. They pound the Packers 44-21. Next stop, Houston.
And that's it. The Atlanta Falcons, NFC champions, on to Super Bowl 51.
All right, Matt Ryan threw for 392 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. The AFC featured 2 other top quarterbacks in the league, and it's been a rematch 12 years in the making. Ben Roethlisberger of the Steelers and Tom Brady of the Patriots. This one not a close one either. First quarter, Tom Brady has all day to throw this one. Look at that protection. Finally throws a dart into the end zone to Chris Hogan for the touchdown, and the Pats are up 10-0. Then they would strike again in the second quarter with the flea flicker. Brady throws a dime to Hogan again for another touchdown. Number 12 threw for 381 yards and 3 touchdown passes on the day as the Pats take down the Steelers easily 36-17. New England's going back to another Super Bowl. Falcons against the Patriots. Brady's going to try to win his 5th championship. All right, that's going to do it for sports. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday.
All right, it's time to meet our Facebook fan of the morning. Let's get a big round of applause for Christy Wood of Macon. Congratulations, Christy. Make sure you check your email to learn how to get your prize. We'll be right back with another check of your forecast at 6:26. Stay with us. Coming up, Bibb Sheriff's deputies are looking for the person responsible for the first homicide of the year in Bibb County. More on what happened and how you can help, that's ahead at 6:39.
All right, so we are talking about some much better weather as we go into this week. Finally, 62 degrees for a high today and tomorrow, 68 by Wednesday. With the much colder temperatures moving for the weekend, the good news, no severe weather on the horizon. Just a few showers Wednesday night, that's it.
And definitely some good news there. We're coming up on 6:30, a live look at the devastation that happened in Albany and Wilcox County. Straight ahead.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.